Hello, Reading Room. How are you? This is Dr. Annette Feravich. We are here on day 159 of the classroom. I am reading the book, Ethics for a New Millennium. I'm, 3/4 of the way through of the book. That's really pretty amazing for such a valuable book to be that far along in it. Whatever that means. Chapter 12, Levels of Commitment. Tune in, males. Tune in, guys. Through developing an attitude of responsibility towards others, we can begin to create the kinder, more compassionate world we all dream of. The reader may or may not agree with my advocacy of universal responsibility, but if it is correct that, given the broadly interdependent nature of reality, our habitual distinction between self and other is in some sense an exaggeration, and if on the basis of this I am right in suggesting that our aim should be to extend our compassion toward all others, we cannot avoid the conclusion that compassion, which entails ethical conduct, belongs at the heart. Oh, I just swallowed a little piece of my gum. Oh, I don't want to swallow it. It's right there. I have to. Oh my gosh. I don't like it. I know, I heard you. And if on this basis I am right in suggesting that our aim should be to extend our compassion toward all others, we cannot avoid the conclusion that compassion, which entails ethical conduct, belongs at the heart of all our actions, both individual and social. Furthermore, although of course the details are open to debate, I am convinced that universal responsibility means that compassion belongs in the political arena too. And we have not seen that at all. Telling people, running into this country and calling them the criminals? Seriously. It tells us something important about how we are to conduct our daily lives if we desire to be happy in the way I've characterized happiness. Saying this, I trust it is clear that I am not calling on everyone to renounce their present way of life and adopt some new rule or way of thinking. Rather, my intention is to suggest that the individual keeping his or her daily way of life can change, can become a better, more compassionate and happier human being. And though being better, more compassionate individuals, we can begin to, through being better, more compassionate individuals, we can begin to implement our spiritual revolution. The work of a person laboring in some humble occupation is no less relevant. Oh, you piece of shit. My coffee is no less relevant to the well-being of society than that of, for example, a doctor or a teacher, a monk or a nun. All human endeavor is potentially great and noble, so long as we carry out our work with good motivation, thinking my work is for others, it will be a benefit to the wider community. But when concerns for others' feelings and welfare is missing, our activities tend to become spoiled through lack of basic human feeling, religion, politics, economics, and so on. There we go again. Can be rendered dirty. Instead of serving humanity, they become agents of its destruction. And they're supposed to be civil servants. Therefore, in addition to developing a sense of universal responsibility, we need actually to be responsible people. Until we put our principles into practice, they remain just that. So, for example, it is appropriate for a politician who is genuinely responsible to conduct himself or herself with honesty and integrity. It is appropriate for a businessman or woman to consider the needs of others in every enterprise they undertake. It is appropriate for a lawyer to use their expertise to fight for justice. Of course, it is difficult to articulate precisely how our behavior would be shaped by a commitment to the principle of universal responsibility. For this reason, I do not have any particular standard in mind. All that I hope is that what is written here makes sense to you, the reader. You will strive to be compassionate in your daily life, and that out of a sense of responsibility toward all others, you will do what you can to help them. When you walk past a dripping tap, you will turn it off. If you see a light burning unnecessarily, you will do the same. If you are a religious practitioner and tomorrow you meet someone of another religious tradition, you will show them the same respect as you would hope them to show you. Or if you are a scientist and you see that the research you are engaged in may cause harm to others, out of a sense of responsibility, you will desist from it. According to your own resources and recognizing the limitations of your circumstances, you will do what you can. Apart from this, I am not calling for any commitment as such. And if on some days your actions are more compassionate than on others, well, that is normal. Likewise, if what I say does not seem helpful, then no matter. The important thing is that whatever we do for others, whatever sacrifices we make, it should be voluntary and arise from understanding the benefits of such actions. On a recent visit to New York, a friend told me that the number of billionaires in America had increased from 17 just a few years ago to several hundred today. I wonder what they are today. Yet at the same time, the poor remain poor and in some cases are becoming poorer. This I consider to be completely immoral. It is also a potential source of problems. While millions do not even have the basic necessities of life, adequate food, shelter, education, and medical facilities, the inequality of wealth distribution is a scandal. If it were the case that everyone had a sufficiency for their needs and more, then perhaps a luxurious lifestyle would be tenable. If that was what the individual really wanted, it would be difficult to argue that they need refrain from exercising their right to live as they see fit. Yet things are not like that. In this one world of ours, there are areas where people throw surplus food away while others close by, our fellow humans, innocent children among them, are reduced to scavenging among rubbish, and many starve. Thus, although I cannot say that the life of luxury led by the rich is wrong of itself, assuming they are using their own money and have not acquired it dishonestly, I do say that it is unworthy, that it is spoiling. Moreover, it strikes me that the lifestyles of the rich are often absurdly complicated. One friend of mine who stayed with an extreme wealthy family told me that every time they went swimming, they were handed a robe to wear after. This would then be changed for a fresh one each time they used the pool, even if they did so several times in one day. Extraordinary, ridiculous. Even I do not see how living like this adds anything to one's comfort. As human beings, we have only one stomach. There is a limit to the amount we can eat. Similarly, we have only 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. I'm like, what? So we cannot wear 100 rings. Whatever argument there may be concerning choice, the extra we have is of no purpose in the moment when we are actually wearing a ring. The rest lie useless in their boxes. The appropriate use of wealth, as I explained to the members of one hugely prosperous Indian family, is found in philanthropic giving. Now we've turned those super PACs into philanthropic giving, not caring at all whether or not it's philanthropic. It's serving your own needs. And that's what they're saying is philanthropic, that we can serve our own needs. It's just crazy. In this particular case, I suggested, since they asked, that perhaps spending their money on education would be the best thing they could do. The future of the world is in our children's hands. Therefore, if we wish to bring about a more compassionate and therefore fairer society, it is essential that we educate our children to be responsible, caring human beings. When a person is born rich or acquires wealth by some other means, they have a tremendous opportunity to benefit others. What a waste when that opportunity is squandered on self-indulgence. I feel strongly that luxurious living is inappropriate, so much so that I must admit that whenever I stay in a comfortable hotel and see others eating and drinking expensively while outside there are people who do not even have anywhere to spend the night, I feel greatly disturbed. It reinforces my feeling that I am no different from either the rich or the poor. We are the same in wanting happiness and not to suffer, and we have an equal right to that happiness. As a result, I feel that if I were to see a workers' demonstration going by, I would certainly join in. And yet, of course, the person who is saying these things is one of those enjoying the comforts of the hotel. Indeed, I must go further. It is also true that I possess several valuable wristwatches, and while I feel that if I were to sell them, I could perhaps build some huts for the poor, so far I have not. In the same way, I do not feel if I were to observe a strictly vegetarian diet, not only would I be setting a better example, but I would also be helping to save innocent animals' lives. So far I have not, and therefore must admit a discrepancy between my principles and my practice in certain areas. At the same time, I do not believe everyone can or should be like Mahatma Gandhi and live the life of a poor peasant. Such dedication is wonderful and greatly to be admired, but the watchword is as much as we can without going to extremes. That was chapter 12. We are all done with chapter 12. So that was a nice short chapter, which I kind of appreciated. It was a good chapter. I know that I did my first teaching in character building on responsibility because of that chapter. Universal responsibility. Love it. All right. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Thanks for joining me here in the reading room. We are reading Ethics for the New Millennium by His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and we really are plowing through this pretty nicely. We are here tomorrow because we're here 3 days on for day 160 of the classroom. Thanks for joining me.